all, it's Mercy here with Jonathan Mattingly of the Blackwood Brothers. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, like you said, my name is Jonathan Mattingly. I'm 25 years old. I've been singing pretty much my whole life. I sang with my family before I joined the Blackwood Brothers. So since I was probably 6 or 7, I've been singing so close to 20 years. I have a wife, Sarah, and a son, Asher, and I love them very, very much. And I wish they were here, but they couldn't be here this week because she had to work. So, but yeah, that's me.
Can you share your salvation testimony?
Yeah. Actually, like I said, I grew up singing. So I was raised in church, and I would always hear people say, you know, you gotta be saved, you gotta be saved, you gotta be saved. And for the longest time, I didn't understand what they meant. But I would always hear them say that, and I was like, well, maybe that's just something I need to do, not really knowing why. So at the age of 7, I made a profession of faith. And when people get saved, they always say they felt a change, and I was like, I never really felt that. And so for the longest time, I was like, man, am I saved? Am I not saved? And so, but I would always go back to that point where I was like, well, I made a profession back there when I was 7, so, you know, and that would make me feel good for a little while, but all these feelings would always come back. So we were actually at a missions conference in Florida, and the preacher was preaching, and excuse me, it seemed like the whole week he was talking about people who profess to be saved that are not. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, why is this, like, it seems so geared towards me. And finally on Friday night of the missions conference, he said something that really stuck out to me. And he said, you know, there are people who are trying to live the Christian life without Christ, and it's not possible. And I was like, okay, well, that's me. And so that night, I got saved. I was 21 years old, so that was, well, 4 years ago now. Sorry, my math is kind of, I was homeschooled, so. So when I was 21, I nailed it down, and now I know I'm saved and I'm on my way to heaven. So that was pretty special. It was just right after I got married, so my wife got to be there and got baptized a couple months after that, and I'm excited about that. I always enjoy sharing that because we've been a couple of times where when I was with when I joined the Blackwood Brothers, there's been a couple of times where I really felt like the Lord was leading me to share that with the audience, and you know, I never really knew why. And then somebody would come up to me afterwards and said, I'm going through exactly what you're going through, and they would get saved that night. And so it was like, wow, that's pretty special right there.
Who is your biblical hero or biblical character you relate to?
That's kind of a tough one because there's so many. When I was younger, I always loved David because, you know, he killed Goliath with a rock, and so I always thought that was cool. But he was just a great man. And as far as someone I relate to, right now, I would probably say Abraham, not because I feel like I'm this spiritual giant, but when he was younger, God called him to move away from his family, you know, everything he'd ever known, to move to a land that God was going to show him. And a little over a year ago, in April, I kind of went through that. My wife and I, we moved from Missouri to Nashville with no real job plan. I just wanted to further my career in music, and I really felt like that was what the Lord wanted me to do. But we moved with really nothing planned. We had a savings account, but that was it. So we moved, and then the week we moved to Nashville, Billy actually called me and said, hey, we're in the process of looking for a lead singer. Would you be interested in trying out? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we just moved there, and it was a music position with a group that I've listened to my whole life, and the Lord just kept showing us that this is where He wanted us. A couple months later, my son had to be taken prematurely. He was born at 28 weeks, 1 pound 14 ounces, and so we were there where Asher needed to be, because in South Missouri there's no hospitals within 4 hours of where we lived to take care of a baby with his prematurity. And because we moved to Nashville, we were right there. I mean, we moved just about 30 minutes from Nashville, so we were right there where he needed to be. And so it was just things like that that God kept showing us that this is what He wanted us to do, and this is where we needed to be. And so, long story short, I would say Abraham just for that reason. But there's so many. There's a lot of good characters in the Bible that are relatable, a lot of which are probably more accurate, because like the ones who fail a lot, I feel like I probably would relate more to them. But God still uses them, and I'm thankful He still uses me even though I mess up.
What is something most people don't know about you?
Whew, that's a tough one. Well, like I said, I was homeschooled. That might be something I don't know if a lot of people know about me. I love golf. I love golf. Love golf. I love Sour Patch Kids. Coca-Cola. That's my favorite drink. It's probably not a good thing, but that's my favorite drink on the planet. Pizza's my favorite food. You know, I feel like those are a lot of things that a lot of people probably know about me, because I feel like I'm a pretty transparent guy. So it's hard for me to think of things that people don't know, because I share things I like, and you know, most people know it.
What is the most important thing you've learned since becoming a father?
Consistency, just being consistent. Trying to stay consistent in the Word, so you can be an example to your child. Asher, he's a handful at times, so patience is another big one. So I feel like that's one thing I've had to learn, because Sarah, she's so patient. For me, I'm just like, he starts acting up, I'm like, what's the deal? Come on, man, straighten up. But he's just, you know, it's patience is probably something I've really had to learn since Asher's been born. But definitely staying consistent in the Word of God, and being the godly example he needs, so he can grow knowing the Lord.
What is one of your favorite experiences of being on the road with the Blackwood Brothers?
There's been so many, because singing with the Blackwood Brothers has given me allowed me to sing in a lot of places I never thought I would be able to sing. Sing with a lot of people I never thought I would be on the same stage with, but was able to sing with. We were in Lawrenceburg. Excuse me. We were in Lawrenceburg a couple months ago, and when all the groups came back for the finale, we were with Poet Voices, and they sang Champion of Love, and I was like, I'm on the same stage as Phil Cross singing Champion of Love. How cool is this? So that was really cool. I mean, obviously singing at Quartet Convention, you know, just meeting a lot of great people in the industry that I've gotten to know on a more personal basis, because I've been in that position now. So it's just a lot of wonderful opportunities. We got to sing with Sandy Patty a couple weeks ago. So I mean, I grew up listening to her. Just things like that I'm really blessed to be able to do this, and I'm thankful I'm here.
What is your favorite place you've ever visited?
This might sound a little funny, because we get to visit a lot of cool places, but probably my favorite place that I've visited since I've been with the Blackwood Brothers is probably Tombstone, Arizona, because in my family we grew up watching a lot of old westerns and old Disney movies, and a lot of those were based out of old western towns like Tombstone. And so we went to Tombstone this last year, and I got to walk. I mean, it's just really cool because they got the dirt streets and the wood sidewalks, and I mean, in the old stores and the Fight It OK Corral and all that stuff. So that's probably the coolest, my favorite place we visited so far.
What is something you'd like to be known or remembered for?
I would like to be remembered as being real, because there's a lot of people out there who aren't, and people can tell it. Like when I went to convention the first year, my first year was 2002, when it was back in Louisville. And I grew up watching Gaither videos and seeing all these people and really looking up to these people, and then you would meet them and they would just kind of, you know, they weren't friendly, they would just, and that really, really discouraged me at a young age when I was really looking up to these people and they would barely talk to you. And so I just try to be real with people. That's something I would like people to remember me, is that, you know, he was the real deal. He wasn't putting on a show, and he was doing it for the right reasons. That's what I would like to be known for.
Who are some of your gospel music heroes or mentors?
Wow. Heroes, I mean, obviously, George Yance, I always loved listening to him. Glenn Payne, Roger Bennett, Anthony Berger. I know those are piano players, but I always really looked up to them. Mentors, man, there's been so many people. I mean, obviously the guys in the Blackwood Brothers I sing with, they've invested so much time in me over the past year. My family, mom and dad raised me to love this music. My grandpa, he sang his whole life up until the day he died. So there's Gary Casto, who's kind of the reason I got the Blackwood Brother job, because he's the one who gave them my information. Riley Clark, he's invested in me. Steve Hurst, Dale Forbes. I mean, just so many people who have invested time in me. Roger Talley, Nick Bruno. I mean, all these guys they've really invested in me. Casey Kemp, he's one of my best friends, and he's believed it. He's believed in me for a long time, and I'm thankful for him. And he's always been there for me. He's my neighbor, so even though we don't get to see each other a lot, because if I'm there, he's not, and if he's there, I'm not, so we don't get to see each other very often, but he's one of my closest friends. And just so many people have invested in me to get me to where I am today, and I'm blessed.
And lastly, if you had a theme song for your life, what would it be?
Oh man, I feel like the theme song for every gospel singer is "On the Road Again." Just because, I mean, you're burning up the highways all the time. But realistically, I would probably say I don't get to sing this, and I wish I did, and maybe one day I will. But there's a song called "He Didn't Throw the Clay Away" that I really love, because it talks about, you know, broken vessels, but God doesn't throw them away. He takes them and He molds them back into what He wants them to be, and He uses them again. And so I'm thankful that He doesn't throw me away. So that would probably be my theme song.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much for asking me.